There's a reason smart people seem to glide through life with confidence. It's not luck. It's psychology. Today, you'll discover 15 psychological tricks intelligent people use every day to influence others, protect their mind, and stay one step ahead. Some of these tricks are so powerful. Once you learn them, you'll never see people the same way again. Let's begin. Number 1, the silence advantage. Smart people understand something most people never notice. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. In every conversation, the first person to rush to fill the quiet loses power. Intelligent people use this to their advantage. When someone asks them a question, they pause, not because they're unsure, but because silence creates pressure. And humans hate pressure. We are wired to speak, to explain, to justify ourselves, especially when the other person is calm and quiet. During that silence, something interesting happens. The other person begins to reveal more than they planned. Their real intentions slip out. Their emotions surface. Their insecurities become visible. This simple trick is used by negotiators, psychologists, detectives, and anyone who understands human behavior, because silence makes people uncomfortable, and discomfort makes them honest. Try it once. Stay quiet a little longer than normal, and watch how the entire conversation shifts in your favor. Number 2, the name echo technique. Smart people know that the sweetest sound to any human is their own name. It creates connection, trust, and instant familiarity. But here's the psychological trick. They don't overuse it. They place the name at the exact moments when it matters most. When they want someone to feel understood, they repeat their name softly. When they want to calm a person during tension, they echo their name with a steady tone. And when they want to gain influence, they use the name right before making a key point. This small detail works because hearing your own name activates the part of your brain responsible for identity and self-worth. It makes you pay attention. It makes you feel important. And when someone makes you feel important, you naturally like them more. Politicians use it. Leaders use it. Even negotiators use it subconsciously. The trick is simple. Use someone's name intentionally, not casually. Say it at the right moment and you'll see how people soften, open up, and become more cooperative, often without realizing why. Number 3, the slow blink effect. Smart people use a subtle behavior most people never notice. The slow blink. It's one of the most powerful nonverbal signals in human psychology. When someone blinks slowly, they're sending a message without speaking. I'm calm, I'm in control, and I'm not threatened. This simple gesture instantly lowers tension in the room. It also creates the impression of confidence, because people who feel secure move more slowly. Their body language is relaxed, and their eyes don't rush. But here's where the trick becomes interesting. When you blink slowly while someone is being aggressive or emotional, their brain reads your calmness as dominance. It diffuses their intensity, and they subconsciously mirror your energy. Negotiators, therapists, and high-level communicators use this to manage heated situations without raising their voice. Try it the next time someone is stressed or confrontational. Slow your breathing, lower your shoulders, and blink just a little slower than usual. You'll notice something surprising. The other person begins to settle, their tone softens, and the entire interaction becomes easier to control. Number 4, the emotional labeling technique. Smart people don't try to win arguments with force. They win by understanding emotions. And one of the most effective psychological tools they use is something called emotional labeling. It's simple, but extremely powerful. When someone is upset, frustrated, or anxious, you calmly name the emotion they're feeling. You say things like, "It sounds like you're overwhelmed. It seems like that really frustrated you." Or, "I can hear that this made you feel ignored." The moment the emotion is labeled, the brain reacts instantly. Activity in the amygdala, the part responsible for emotional intensity, begins to decrease, and activity in the prefrontal cortex, the rational part, starts to increase. In other words, Naming the emotion reduces the emotion. This technique is used by therapists, hostage negotiators, and anyone who needs to calm a situation quickly. When you label someone's feelings, they feel seen, they feel understood, and most importantly, they stop fighting you. Try it. Name the emotion you see, and watch how conflict melts into cooperation. Number 5. The because effect. Smart people know that one simple word can dramatically increase your chances of getting what you want. That word is because. In psychology, there's a famous experiment. People were waiting in line to use a photocopy machine. When someone asked, "Can I use the machine?" Some people said yes, some said no. But when the person said, "Can I use the machine because I'm in a hurry?" the rate of people saying yes jumped. Here's the surprising part. Even when the reason was weak, like, "Can I use the machine because I need to make some copies?" people still said yes more often, simply because their brain heard a reason. The mind loves justification. It doesn't always check if the reason is strong. It just wants a story that makes sense. Smart people use this in everyday life. "Could we move this meeting to tomorrow because I need time to review this properly? Can you send me that file tonight because I want to include it in tomorrow's report?" When you give a reason, people feel less like you're demanding something, and more like you're inviting them to cooperate. Use the word because carefully and honestly, and you'll notice people become more open, more helpful, and far less resistant. Number 6. The mirror pacing technique. Smart people know that you can change someone's behavior without telling them what to do. You do it through something called mirror pacing. Mirror pacing is simple. You subtly match the other person's rhythm, their speaking speed, their posture, even the pace of their breathing. At first, you mirror them, so they feel understood and connected. People trust those who feel similar to them. It's unconscious but powerful. Then comes the second step. You gradually shift your rhythm. Slow your voice. Relax your shoulders. Breathe a little deeper. And here's the psychological trick. The other person will follow your new rhythm without realizing why. If they're anxious, they become calmer. If they're angry, their tone softens. If they're speaking too fast, they slow down with you. Therapists use this to guide clients toward emotional stability. Negotiators use it to defuse tension without confrontation. You're not controlling the person. You're leading the energy of the conversation. Match first, then guide. That's mirror pacing. Number 7. The double-take pause. Smart people use a subtle psychological move that instantly makes their words feel more important. It's called the double-take pause. Here's how it works. Right before they say something meaningful, they pause, but not a normal pause. They slightly turn their head, look away for a second, as if gathering a deeper thought, and then return their eyes to the listener before delivering the message. This tiny gesture creates anticipation. It signals to the brain, pay attention. Something important is coming. Humans are highly responsive to microcues. A small pause, a shift in gaze, a moment of reflection. These movements make the listener lean in, focus harder, and take the message more seriously. Speakers, leaders, and great storytellers use the double-take pause all the time. It adds weight to their words, without raising their voice or changing their tone. Try it yourself. Before saying something important, pause for just one heartbeat, look away briefly, then reconnect your eyes with the listener. You'll notice a shift. The room quiets, people focus, and suddenly, your words feel stronger, more intentional, and far more persuasive.
Number 8. The foot direction signal. Smart people read body language that most people never notice. And one of the most honest signals the human body gives is the direction of the feet. People can fake a smile. They can control their voice. They can manage their facial expressions. But the feet almost always tell the truth. When someone's feet are pointed directly at you, it usually means they're interested in the conversation. in the topic, or in you. But when their feet angle away, even slightly, their body is preparing to leave. Their mind is already somewhere else. This doesn't just show comfort or discomfort. It reveals intention. In meetings, look at where people's feet are pointing. You'll instantly know who is engaged and who is waiting for the moment to escape. In social situations, if someone's body faces you, but their feet point toward a door, they're done with the interaction, even if their words say otherwise. Smart people use this not to judge, but to understand. It helps them communicate better, choose the right moment to talk, and avoid pushing conversations that are already over. The feet tell the truth. You just have to watch them. Number 9, the micro-agreement strategy. Smart people know that big agreements don't start with big questions. They start with tiny ones. Micro-agreements. A micro-agreement is a small, harmless question that almost anyone would say yes to. Questions like, "Can I show you something? Do you have 1 minute? Does that make sense so far?" Every time someone says yes, even to something small, their brain becomes more open to saying yes again. It's called commitment consistency. A psychological principle that says humans prefer to stay aligned with their previous decisions. So smart people lead others step by step, one small yes at a time, until reaching a bigger agreement. It feels natural, comfortable, and non-confrontational. Salespeople use it. Teachers use it. Leaders use it. Even parents use it without realizing it. The technique works because the brain values momentum. A yes creates movement. Another yes continues it. And several small yes make the final agreement feel obvious, almost inevitable. Micro-agreements aren't manipulation. They're gentle guidance. A way to build cooperation instead of pressure. Try it. Ask for something tiny first. Then build from there. You'll be amazed at how often people follow your lead. Number 10, the decoy effect. Smart people understand that humans rarely choose what they truly want. They choose what looks like the best option. And this is where the decoy effect becomes powerful. The decoy effect means that when you add a third, less attractive choice, you can influence which of the other two choices people prefer. For example, imagine 2 options for a subscription. One cheap, one expensive. Most people choose the cheap one. But if you add a third option, a decoy, priced almost the same as the expensive one, but offering far less value, people suddenly choose the expensive option. Why? Because the decoy makes it look superior. Smart people use this in everyday life without manipulation. They frame choices in a way that makes the best option clearer. Parents do it with children. Managers do it with teams. Even you can use it when deciding how to present your ideas. The trick works because the human brain compares options. Not in absolute terms, but in relative ones. We look for what feels like the better deal, even if the original choices haven't changed. If you want someone to pick option A, place a weaker option B next to it. Suddenly, option A shines. That's the power of the decoy effect. A quiet nudge that reshapes decisions, without ever forcing them.
Number 11, the confidence anchor. Smart people know that confidence doesn't come from the moment you speak. It comes from the moment before you speak. And they use something called a confidence anchor. A confidence anchor is a small, simple action that tells your brain, you are safe. You are prepared. You can handle this. It could be adjusting your posture, placing your feet firmly on the ground, taking a slow breath, or touching an object that centers you. A pen, a ring, a notebook. These actions may seem insignificant, but to the brain, they are signals of stability. They reduce stress hormones, sharpen focus, and activate the neural circuits of control. That's why athletes have rituals before competing. Why speakers pause before stepping on stage. Why negotiators take one steady breath before talking. The anchor doesn't give you confidence. It triggers the confidence you already have. Smart people use their anchor right before important moments. Before answering a difficult question. Before giving an opinion. Before entering a room full of people. Try creating your own anchor. Choose a small action. And repeat it every time you need clarity or courage. Your brain will learn the pattern. And over time, that tiny gesture becomes a switch, turning fear into focus and hesitation into strength. Number 12, the information gap hook. Smart people know how to keep attention. Not by speaking louder, but by creating curiosity. And one of the most effective ways to do that is through something called the information gap. The information gap works like this. You reveal just enough to spark interest, but not enough to satisfy it. The brain hates unfinished patterns. When there's a gap between what we know and what we want to know, our mind becomes restless. We lean in. We stay focused. We wait for the missing piece. Storytellers use this. Teachers use this. Even advertisers use this to make us watch, listen, and pay attention. For example, saying, "There's a mistake you're making every day, and you don't even notice it," immediately pulls the listener closer. The gap has been created. Now the mind wants the answer. Smart people use this technique in conversations, presentations, and negotiation. Not to manipulate, but to guide attention. Instead of explaining everything at once, they open a loop. They let curiosity build pressure. And then they deliver the missing piece at the right moment. Try it. Hint at something important before revealing it. You'll notice people becoming more engaged, more alert, and far more interested in what you say. Number 13, the selective vulnerability move. Smart people understand something powerful about human nature. We don't trust perfection. We trust honesty. And that's why they use selective vulnerability. Selective vulnerability means sharing something small, real, and human about yourself. Not to seek sympathy, but to create connection. It could be admitting a small mistake, sharing a challenge you overcame, or acknowledging something you're still learning. These moments signal authenticity. They tell others, "I'm like you. I'm human too." But here's the key. It has to be intentional and balanced. Too much vulnerability can overwhelm. Too little creates distance. Smart people reveal just enough to make others feel safe, seen, and willing to open up in return. Leaders use this to build trust. Friends use it to deepen relationships. Even in negotiations, a small honest admission can make the other person soften and become more cooperative. Selective vulnerability is not weakness. It's strategic honesty. A bridge between two people. That creates understanding and connection. Try it. Share one small truth about yourself. Not dramatic. Not heavy. Just real. You'll be surprised how quickly walls come down and conversations become genuine. Number 14, the reframing shift. Smart people don't just look at situations. They change the way situations are framed. This psychological skill is called reframing, and it can transform how people think, react, and make decisions. Reframing means taking the same reality, but presenting it from a different perspective. One that reduces fear, creates clarity, or opens new possibilities. For example, instead of saying, "I have a problem," you say, "I have a challenge I can learn from." Instead of telling someone, "This task is difficult," you say, "This task will make you stronger." Nothing about the situation changes. Only the meaning attached to it. And the meaning is what shapes emotion. Smart people use reframing in conversations to guide others away from stress and toward a more constructive mindset. In arguments, they shift the focus from blame to solutions. In moments of uncertainty, they turn obstacles into opportunities. This isn't fake positivity. It's mental strategy. The brain follows the frame it's given. And the person who controls the frame often controls the direction of the conversation. Try it. Take one negative thought you've had recently and reframe it with a new meaning. Watch how your energy changes and how challenges suddenly feel easier to handle. Number 15, the future-pacing influence. Smart people know how to influence decisions without pressure, without force, and without manipulation. They do it through something called future pacing. Future pacing means guiding someone's mind into a future moment where the decision you want them to make already feels natural, comfortable, and beneficial. For example, instead of saying, "You should start this project," a smart person says, "Imagine how relieved you'll feel once this project is finally done." See the difference? One pushes, the other pulls. The mind responds more strongly to imagined emotions than to direct instructions. When you help someone visualize a future where they feel proud, safe, or successful, their brain starts moving toward that outcome automatically. Teachers use this to motivate students. Therapists use it to help clients change habits. Leaders use it to inspire action without sounding commanding. With future pacing, you're not telling people what to do. You're showing them who they could become. Try it. The next time you need someone to take action, don't push the action itself. Paint the emotional future that follows. You'll be surprised how quickly people say yes to the version of themselves they want to become.